Hey, SEGways!
A few days back, I uploaded a video that myself and Agent F worked on about CelinaSpookyBoo's contradicting stories with her involvement in a real-life murder case. I hate it when YouTubers ask you to watch a previous video in order to understand the context of the video you actually clicked on, but with that being said, if you haven't done so already, you really do need to watch this video here before you carry on any further with this one that you're watching right now. I was well aware that I would receive backlash for this video. Now don't get me wrong, most of the comments were being supportive of the video and seem to understand and agree with the message that I was trying to put across. So I'm going to try my best to ignore all the people that just wanted to insult me and focus on some of the more legitimate questions and critiques that were being put forward to me after they watched my first video that I probably should have done a better job of flushing out. So I want to quickly elaborate on some of these points that were made in the comments before I talk about the clip that I found of Celina bringing her involvement up with Tory Stafford's death yet again. I guess the biggest criticism I got was pretty much, how dare I make this video? Don't I know that Celina is suffering from survivor's guilt and God knows what else? Personally, I thought I'd dial back my harshness a fair amount in this video compared to what my other videos are like when talking about very similar subject matters. Those of you who are regulars to my channel will know exactly what I mean by this. And towards the end of the video, I outright stated that this could well have affected Celina to some degree. And I will say before I end the video that with all of Celina's half-truths and inconsistencies, I do believe to some extent that this would have affected her to some degree, so please keep that in mind when you leave comments. And of course, don't go over to Celina's channel and spread any hate. But when Celina's story is so vastly different from her YouTube video to what is in the court transcripts, I do believe this gives me legit grounds to scrutinize the two stories. And I'm sorry if that upsets you, but you know, this is YouTube, deal with it. Other criticism that I received is the manner of which Celina asked her questions in court, and how I interpreted that. To be fair, this is a pretty good point that was raised. I'm sure that witnesses are not allowed to elaborate when they ask questions in court. They do have to keep it very direct to a simple yes or no from whatever is being asked from them. So then I have to ask myself, why did the lawyer not ask any of these really important questions from Celina? Celina herself asked these same questions in her video.
I'll never forget standing trial, and I was so mad at the trial. I was so mad because they were just, it was just verifying questions. Did you meet him? Did you this? They didn't ask the important questions like I had told the police.
So if the police took down all of Celina's statements about her involvement with the killer, and the lawyer in court would have obviously had access to all of these accounts and documents, then why did the lawyer not ask Celina to confirm all of this damning evidence against the killer? I believe that this is one of those examples where the most logical explanation is most likely the correct one. Personally, I think it's because none of the things that was said by Celina in her YouTube video actually took place. The story is clearly very sensationalized.
We looked through and I saw him. And he turned his head and he looked at me and he goes, "Celina." My friend and I book it. We're 17, we're terrified. We run out to my car. That car that had been on my street, that weirdly painted Honda Civic, was parked against my driver door.
And the reason none of it was brought up by the lawyer in court is because it never actually happened. But I need to clearly state that this is just my opinion. Something else that was brought up is Celina's actual age. Apparently I got this wrong, and for some reason my critics seem to think this is some kind of big win against me to try and discredit the whole argument. And to this I've got to say, so what? Who cares? Whether Celina was 23 or she was closer to 27. The point I was trying to make is that the Celina who took the stand was more than likely a teenager, and the Celina making the YouTube video is an adult. Not a teenager, but an adult who should know better. I'm not really sure why people are trying to get this cringy got your point to me. If I got her age wrong by a few years, yeah, sure, have that little win if that makes you feel better. All said and done, I'm happy if those who disagree with my and Agent F's assessment of the video can do so in the comments. No real problem there. If you feel a need to insult me, yeah, sure, go ahead, who cares? It seems that the majority who watched my video could see it for what it actually clearly is. And for that, I'm grateful for the average IQ of those who watched that video. I would not have made this if Celina wasn't a proven liar with her psychic medium nonsense. If it wasn't for Celina showing her attention attention-seeking antics over and over again, I would have given her the benefit of the doubt that so many of her fans seem to be giving her. But as far as I'm concerned, Celina is a clear-as-day storyteller, and all she is doing in her video is telling another story and making herself the main character. I mean, just look at all these horror books that she's written. She clearly knows how to craft a story. Many of you in the comments also seem to notice that Celina seems to be putting on some kind of performance with her video.
But they knew that he had been, like, stalking me.
As I say, I do believe this would have upset her to some degree, but yeah, I can't help to admit that some of this does seem to come across a bit on the dramatic side. So, I've had many DMs telling me lots and lots of stories about Celina and her claims, all of which wanted to remain anonymous. And I don't like bringing any of these things up in my videos if I cannot back them up in one way or another, so I'd rather keep most of them to myself. But there was one email that I got that told me where to find a video of Celina bringing up her involvement with the Tory Stafford case yet again. And again, she adds in additional information that she failed to bring up in the past. This all happened in a Call Me Chris video where she talks about psychic mediums solving cases of murder or whatnot. So let's give it a listen.
But the weird thing is, like, I will have dreams that are literally like little clippets like that, kind of like when we do our ghost investigation. It's not a lot during the day, but I think, you know, talking about the most interesting one, this one really ties because you're talking about ones where people were involved and weren't. But the most intense one for me was the Tory Stafford case, which, as we know, I testified against that murderer in court. The day that she went missing was insane. I did Big Brothers Big Sisters. My co-op was 4 periods. I worked in the schools with little girls that were about Tory Stafford's age. After school, everybody was handing out flyers. I printed flyers. I put them on posts. That night I went to bed and all I could dream about was a man's legs, a girl's legs, and a woman's legs walking along a tree line. That's all it was. And I said, Mom, like, I think she's like with a mom or a dad, or like she's with a man and a woman. And then of course, months later, we found out that she was killed by Michael Rafferty and Terry Lynn McClintock. And it was in Mount Forest along this tree line where she was found.
Amazing how Celina's psychic medium abilities kick in after the fact, isn't it? Interesting how her spidey sense didn't seem to trigger while she was actually talking to the killer. We can all be psychic mediums in hindsight, right?
So I saw it, like, and then that was insane because I didn't even know at this point that I was connected to that case at all whatsoever.
I hope people can see this for what it so clearly, obviously, transparently is here. For some reason, Chris can't see it, and that really is truly frightening. How could you not know that you were, in fact, connected to the case if you really were a psychic medium? The fucking gall for Celina to say this right now about a real-life murder case is fucking disgraceful. She has no shame whatsoever. And does anyone else notice how all of her tears seem to have totally disappeared this time around talking about Tori? This video on Chris's channel was uploaded about 8 months ago, and Celina seems to have moved on pretty well from the last time she was talking about Tori in that other video.
This story has changed my entire life. It has changed who I am as a person. And I think about it every minute of every single day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what does that make you feel like?
I will never not say it doesn't make me feel crazy. It always makes me feel crazy because when you see these things in your head, you feel like you're making it up and you feel like you're lying.
You are lying, Celina, just like you lied about the Ferrara school bollocks. Just like you lie every time you open your mouth when you're talking about your psychic medium abilities.
But then when it comes and it's been validated, you feel like nothing's real and we live in a simulation.
Nothing was validated. Preventing the crime would have been validation, but talking about dreams after the facts were publicized and accessible for everyone to see is about as far from any kind of validation as you could possibly fucking get.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. It's just like this weird, it's like a simulation almost. Like, how are you connected? Like something glitched. Or like
something glitched.
You're not quite wired right, or you're wired more extensively.
some radar is on. I'm some goddamn REM pod. Like, I'm just attracting things. But it's just like you, like when we go into places, like with these certain videos, you'd be like, I've dreamt this, I've seen this.
Yeah, she's definitely not so emotional talking about Tori this time round, is she? She seems to actually be having a pretty good time talking to Chris about all this. So this is the second time Celina has made additions to her story from the court transcripts. Now don't get me wrong, I know that in court she cannot bring up her psychic medium abilities. I know she's not going to be that stupid, but I just find it interesting how none of this psychic medium stuff was brought up or mentioned in the first time she brought up the whole Tori case in that other video of hers on her own channel. And to me, this addition seems to have been added on quite clearly for more attention. She is really desperately trying to cement herself to be a legit psychic medium, and she has no issues talking about made up stories in the Ferrara school about kids getting SA'd, or bringing up Tori whenever she feels like it to further her agenda of being considered a serious psychic medium. So yeah guys, I really don't want to talk about this anymore. This was just a short video I wanted to put together here today as a sort of add-on because this additional video was sent to me. I also thought it was worth addressing some of the comments that were made in the first video I made. Honestly, I don't really like making these kind of videos. They make me feel kind of gross and ugh. And as long as nothing major kicks off, I really don't want to make another video about all of this. I think I've made it very, very clear what I think of Celina and her claims and the way she has used Tori's death in these videos. The next upload of mine will be back to my regular comedy roasts. So, with all that being said, ta very much, cheerio.